we're here again with Messy on Purpose.
Messy on Purpose.
And we're going to talk about toxic positivity.
Which I'll be honest with you, when you brought this topic up to me, I was like, I don't even know what toxic positivity is. So I had to look it up and like do a little Google search, like what does that even mean? So maybe you can give your definition of it and what you think about it.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to talk about it is because of that, right? Like a lot of people think that just being positive all the time is like good, or you know, you walk by somebody and they're like, smile. Well, maybe I just don't feel like smiling today, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be positive. It is. But there is a such thing as too much positivity.
Yeah.
And that can be toxic just as much as negativity. Because now you're being fake. You know, you're being overly positive to
or
cover
maybe not
something
even
up.
just fake, but like trying to put a band-aid over a wound.
Yes. Yeah, you're covering up everything to be overly positive.
Instead
like
of dealing with it.
we talked about how people will post a bunch of quotes online, and I've been guilty of this. It was a long time ago, but I used to post quotes all the time. Made me feel better, made me like seem more positive. I've always been a genuinely happy person. And no matter what, like I've just always been just kind of happy. I'm so happy that I drive my husband nuts. Like the other morning he was just like, you just woke up. Like, why are you doing all these things? And I was literally cleaning the kitchen and making coffee and putting away food, and like I was just doing all this stuff, like because we had stuff in the crock pot, and like just, you know, like it was just like
high energy.
And like that's how I wake up, and I'm just all around usually pretty happy. I go through my little modes, like especially hormones and like things like that. Like
thank you, PMS.
Yeah, we love you. I know you're on your way. But like, I'm always pretty happy, and like if I get around people, like I don't know what gets into me, but like I am an extrovert all the way because
the energy's higher.
I just get hyped, and so like I've always been a pretty happy person, but there are times where like you are having hard times and things aren't going right, and it feels like the world is just heavy on you, falling apart, like nothing's gone right, and you get in these little slumps, and sometimes you try to keep that positivity by like posting a quote and posting a quote and posting a quote, or you're faking it in front of people to like keep that positivity, or you're forcing positivity on people who are having hard times. And that's another thing too. You don't want to force it on somebody else. Like if you're down in the dumps, I'm not going to come over here and be like, but this quote, you know, like that's not okay. And you shouldn't tell somebody to smile when they don't want to smile. And people are allowed to feel. Like you're allowed to feel things other than being happy all the time and faking a smile. And but there are times that you do need to do those things, right? Like you do it for your kids. You know, so to me, the toxic positivity is when you're faking it so hard that you're not living up to the reality of life. If that's probably the best way I can put it.
I agree. And I think what I found when I was like looking into toxic positivity is I think there are optimists, pessimists, realists. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of that spectrum. I don't like to be pessimistic about things. I can't stay optimistic about things all the time. Like there are just situations in life that suck, and you call it how it is. Like I'm not going to be the person that's like, oh man, like I'm going through a divorce, but life is great. Like you have hard moments in life. We all go through tough times. And I think the thing that stuck out to me the most, and you just touched on it, is like other people trying to force that positivity on you. And I know people have the best intentions, but like you're going through a hard time, going through the divorce, for example, and it's like, you know, you're strong, Heather. Well, I know I'm strong. Like, I know I'm strong, but this sucks. And like, I want to cry and I want to like break stuff and scream. Like, take me to a rage room. Like, don't tell me I'm strong. Like, I know I'm going to get through it, but I want to feel these emotions. That's how you process and that's how you heal, is by feeling, not by stuffing it down. Like, fake it till you make it. I think that's a great thing. I said that about the kids for sure. In front of them, I don't want them to see all my emotions, but I still have to feel these things and I have to process them.
And like when we're talking and you want to talk about something, I shouldn't just be like, well, you should just smile.
Yeah, just smile.
Just smile. It's a good day.
You make
Do you
it.
see how
You're gonna
bright
be
it is out
fine.
there? Like that's
And
that's
other
not right.
examples that I saw is like, you know, when you're telling somebody, it could be worse. It could be worse. But yeah,
It sure
could
could.
be worse. But this sucks too. Like,
And like sometimes you look back on stuff and you're like, well, at least it wasn't worse.
yeah,
But in the moment, you need to process that.
yes.
It's no different than like having emotions. Like
Mhm.
I will say, like, I have less emotions than like most women do, but like
Mhm.
I still have emotions and I have to know how to process them and I have to know what to do with them, and you need to know when to expose them and when
Yeah.
you need to hold back, and there's situations for it and there's situations that you've got to leave them out. Like
Yeah.
like you have say a corporate job.
Mhm.
You can't go there and just start crying.
Mhm.
You can't. It's a
I
sign
mean,
of
you can, but you might not
You
have your
can.
job much longer.
and it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
So that doesn't look good in the workplace.
Mhm.
But if you're hanging out with your best friend and you want to have a conversation and you want to cry and you want to let loose, or with your spouse or your boyfriend or something,
Yeah.
and you're having a conversation and there's just a lot of emotion, you're allowed to cry.
Yeah.
And dudes too.
Yes.
Guys, you
It's
can cry.
therapeutic.
It's fine.
Healing.
And yes, there's a time and a place for it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't do it in the middle of Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, like
Which there have been, I'm the emotional one. Hello, it's me.
Yeah.
There have been times walking through Walmart that I wanted to cry. I mean, sometimes not for emotion.
Just because it's Walmart.
It's Walmart. But speaking on that, like, it's, for example, when somebody passes away and people are so quick to be like, oh, they're in a better place, or they're not in pain anymore, you know, like,
I hate that because you don't know.
or I'm sorry, yeah, I know what you're going through. You don't, like, you may have been through something similar. You don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of ways that we push toxic positivity that I wasn't even aware of. And I was like, damn, this is common.
And everyone does it.
Mhm.
Everyone does it. I've been guilty of it. You've
Yeah.
been guilty of it.
Smile.
Yeah. That one is one that, like,
You're gonna have a good day.
okay, I smile most of the time.
Mhm.
If I'm not smiling, I don't want to
There's
smile.
a reason.
Don't
Yeah.
look at me and say that, because I'm gonna look at you and just be like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Mhm.
no,
Yeah.
I don't want to, and you just made it worse. Like, that's what it comes down to, is just leave people alone.
But I think there's a fine line between trying to encourage somebody and, you know, it's hard in situations, right? Like, you have a friend whose family member has passed away, or somebody's dog or cat, or, you know, a family member is going through health problems. Like, sometimes it's hard to find the right things to say, and we will all fall back on, like, oh my God, you know, like, you try to say
But
the
it's
right
okay
things,
to say nothing.
or just be like, I'm here for you.
Yeah, tell me what you need, but if
Yeah.
you don't need anything,
Like, this
it's fine
sucks.
too. Like, yeah, and that's my response, because
Yeah.
I'm super awkward when it comes to those things. I'm not good with funerals. I'm very much a person who uses humor to get through
Mhm.
things. I like to laugh it off. Like,
Yeah.
it can be the most traumatizing situation, and I'm gonna find a way to laugh about it, because that's how I process it, and that's not how everybody else processes it. And like, so when it comes to these situations, I don't know what to say.
Mhm.
I don't. So like, my response is usually like, tell me what you need.
What do you need? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What do you need from me?
Yeah.
Do you want to be quiet? Do you want to talk? Do you want to hug? Like, what do you need from me?
I even do that to Justin, like, on a regular basis,
Mhm.
because in the morning, so I go to the gym long before he gets up,
Yeah.
and then I come home and I'm wired,
Mhm.
which we already talked about how I annoy him. But like, sometimes he's on the couch and like he seems grumpy and like just mad, not really responding. I'm getting like one word, if that, answers, right? And I'm just jabbering away, and I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, everything's fine. It's morning. I just want you to shut up. But he doesn't say that. He's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
fine.
And I'm like, I know what he's saying though. Like he's telling me like, shut up, Fylisha.
Just-
like stop talking.
Yeah.
And sometimes he does say that, but like it's not like he's being mean. He needs
He
that
needs
time.
his time,
That's
yeah.
his time. And my time was when I went to the gym, and
Yeah.
I just have to respect that. And sometimes I forget, and I just keep talking, and then I realize by his actions that I just need to chill. It's not because he's unhappy. It's not because he's
and it'd
mad
probably
at me.
be a terrible moment to be like, just smile.
And if I told him that, I would get a really, really ugly look.
Just smile.
I don't know. I'd be a little scared. I might get attacked at that point. Like, just smile. He's like,
oh my gosh.
But no, for real. Like it's those cues and stuff that you have to pay attention to, and you have to understand people, and not everyone can do that either. So it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
It's okay to just be like, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? And if there's not anything I can do you want me to leave you alone? Do you want me to just sit here in silence? You can ask those questions, but don't say smile or they're in a better place, or don't give this toxic fake comments that you don't even mean.
I guess it shames the other person into feeling like they're not allowed to feel what they're feeling.
Yes.
Like, okay, so I'm supposed to pretend I'm okay. I'm supposed to pretend like I'm fine. Like, let me put a fake smile on.
And we already naturally try to do that. We already try to fake it most of the time. I can't say everyone does it, but like most people try to fake how they feel because of who they're around. And if we continuously tell them that they can't feel by making these comments, they're just going to keep that bottled up. And I can tell you right now, because being somebody who actually bottles things up a lot, you explode. You explode, and then you don't know what to do, and now you no longer can handle those emotions.
Yeah. And I'm the more emotional person, so I will have my moments where I've learned to like cry it out. I am a stickler for punishment. I mean, there are times where I will watch specific movies because I know they're gonna make me cry, because I'm going through things and I can't always process the things that I'm going through. But if I watch a movie that I know is gonna make me emotional, I know I'm gonna cry, and then once I start crying, it's just like
It just goes.
floodgates open, everything's out, and then I'm able to like, all right, pick up and move on. Now I'm not gonna just like walk around crying all the time like we talked about. And if I was in that mode where I'm dealing with a lot of things in my life and somebody was like, just smile, things could be worse, blah blah blah, that makes it worse. It makes it worse because then I feel like I have to be like, okay, yeah, I'm okay, I've got this, which most of the time I am. I try to be like, I've got it. I get up every day, I put my big girl pants on, but sometimes you have to deal with the emotions to process through them.
And we all go through stuff, right? We all go through stuff. I don't care who you are. I've had comments on my things because I make videos and talk about how you shouldn't play a victim, and I've had people like, she's privileged, she's never gone through anything, stuff like that. I've gone through plenty.
Yeah.
I've gone through plenty. And it's because I don't act like a victim. I deal with my stuff and I fix it and I move on. And if I can't fix it, I figure out a way to deal with it and move on. And like everyone goes through stuff, everyone processes it differently, and don't be judging people because they go through it. If you can, help them go through it. If they need to figure it out on their own, let them figure it out on their own. The only time that I feel like it's okay to like tell someone like, look, you've got to figure this out, is enough time's gone by and you haven't made any changes. Now you need to take action. Now you need to take responsibility for how you feel. How can you not feel like that anymore? What can you do? Like, can you go to therapy? Can you make, certain actions to make your day-to-day better? Can you do certain things to feel better on a daily basis, like go for a walk, get some fresh air? Are you staying inside and just eating junk food and sitting in front of the TV crying, looking at social media, thinking about how your life's so much worse than everybody else's? Like, you can't sit in that either. That's where, like, we were talking about in the previous one about negativity.
Yeah. So you have to have that middle ground between, I think there's a time and place to grieve, even when, like, in a loss of a family member, a relationship, a job. Like, I think part of the process is grieving that.
Yes.
When we don't grieve it, then that has a whole bunch of unresolved trauma behind it. But there should be like a time for you to grieve and then a time for you to pick yourself back up and keep moving. And I think what you're talking about is like helping somebody, like you see that they've been in this situation, like what can we do to move forward? That's a lot different than just being like, chin up, you're gonna get through it. Like
it's been a year and you haven't changed
yeah,
anything.
but keep smiling.
I'm not gonna sit here and give you
Yeah.
some crappy positivity.
You'll
No.
figure it out eventually.
It's never gonna get better until you take action.
Yeah.
And be a friend and tell them that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them that they're not doing things to make their life better.
Mhm.
Because most people won't make a change.
Yeah.
They won't.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell them and you push them and you encourage them, that's being a real friend. That's being a real relative.
And they may
that's
not be
spouse,
receptive
whatever.
at first, or they may be resentful towards somebody telling them that, but it's a lot easier, like you said, to sugarcoat things instead of being real and like, hey, what can we do to change your situation or circumstance? And I think in that we're talking about like somebody, you've lost your job and you know you're like, oh, I'm jobless, I don't have my money to pay my bills, whatever. Obviously in a situation where like you've lost a loved one or something,
A little different. Like
yeah,
you
I'm
can't
not
change
having
much
to be
of
like,
that.
get up.
But
Get
at
out
the
of
same
bed.
time, if a year's gone by and you're still
Yeah.
not changing, like, and you're still depressed and you're still like sitting there and doing nothing outside of work,
then that would be the time to encourage like some deeper therapy.
Yeah. You need to talk to somebody because clearly it was so traumatic that like you can't get through it on your own.
Mhm.
And no one in your
And
life
we
can
may
get
not
through
understand
it with
that
you.
because some people's losses are greater.
Yeah.
You know, I can speak for my mom when it was hard for her losing her mom, but when she lost her dad, my goodness, she lost her dad first, and it was like a part of her heart was gone. So like the grieving process for different people is different based on the relationship and everything. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but I think if you see a family member or a friend really struggling to work through the hard situations in life, then you definitely want to encourage some things that could promote them moving forward.
And it's okay to need help.
Mm-hmm.
It just don't sit in your house and wallow in self-pity and all of that stuff for too long. Like, it's okay to take the time to grieve, but it's not okay to ruin the rest of your life on it. Like there's brighter days ahead. And that's not just positivity that I'm throwing out there, it's the truth. And you can't get to those positive days ahead without moving forward. And life throws a lot of things at you, not just deaths. I mean, there's losing your job.
There's losses of many kinds.
Yeah, losing your pet. Like, I was a mess when we lost Remy, and it took a long time to get through that.
Yeah.
But you have to get past that, and there's still days that go by that I think about it, but it's not like I wallow in it. The first few days, I lost it, and I'm not much of an emotional person, but I lost it. I was making eggs, and literally dropped.
Poor baby.
I dropped because I used to crack them and put them in the bowl. I'm starting to cry. But I used to crack them and put them in the bowl and then throw the egg, and he would catch it, the eggshells. And so that was afterwards, it was so hard to make eggs. But I made eggs the other day and I didn't cry. You know what I mean? So those things that we go through, everyone goes through them. And everybody's been through stuff, whether you were a kid, whether you were a teenager, young adult, older adult,
I
it
feel
doesn't matter.
Anybody that's been alive for more than a couple of years has gone through
at
some
least
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a part of being alive.
Yeah.
Nobody has a cakewalk from the day they're born till the day they die, just no adversity whatsoever. Everybody deals with stuff.
Yep. And that's going to lead into another conversation we're going to have where we talk about hard times and the things that we go through. So, because we all have it, but the biggest thing is just don't rub too much positivity on other people. It really does affect you overall, and it's not only you. You're pushing this positivity on this person instead of actually like being there for them, or you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You're sitting here and you're like, I can't even tell you a quote at the moment. You got one?
What I would tell myself?
Yeah,
like,
a quote that you post.
Lord, I don't know. I just see posts and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, this is a good one.
She had specifics on another podcast. But anyway, like you have these like affirmations
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
you know, these quotes on social media,
Yeah.
and like it's good to have that positivity, but like live up to it, add actions to it. Don't just post it.
Yeah.
Don't just live into this fake world of positivity. Like live in the real world. Deal with your real problems. Take responsibility for your decisions and take action to get where you want to be, because life is supposed to be messy.
And I think my stance on it is just find a happy middle ground where you're not letting the negativity overcome you. You know, deal with your grieving process, go through it, feel what you need to feel. Don't band-aid a wound with positivity. If, for me, like the positive affirmations and the quotes, they help me get through and they help reaffirm the things I already think and feel, but I definitely feel the negative emotions as well. I won't ever use a quote to try to cover up, you know, a gaping wound that I have in my life. I think the positive can be positive if it doesn't go to the extreme. Anything that you do to an extreme is toxic. You know, too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing.
Yeah.
So use the positive. Try not to push the positivity on other people. Sometimes it's nice to just be like, I'm here. What do you need? Instead of trying to give a motivational speech.
And you can't always like tell people what to do. You can make suggestions, and it's their choice beyond that.
Yeah, it's true. Tell us your thoughts on it. What do you think would be toxic positivity, and are you guilty of more of a negative mindset or too positive, or do you have a nice middle ground?
And if you're here in Vegas and you want to come on and tell us a story, we're all for it. Just let us know. Send us an email at messy.on.purpose.podcast@gmail.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Until next time.
Bye.